You are listening to Single Smart Female, Romantic Fairy Godmama Edition.
This episode was brought to you by the Secret Society of Adored Women.
Have you been tirelessly going on craptastic dates, having craptastic results with men, even spending a craptastic amount of time weeding through meh guys and fretting over the one who won't call you back or commit?
Join us for our Hush Hush group of like-minded, successful, badass single women from around the world, turning the dating scene on its head and creating scandalously magical romantic experiences that you will cherish forevermore.
But beware, your love life and life will never be the same again.
Meet us over at thesecretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com.
Why, hi there, my single smart female. It is Jen, your romantic fairy godmama, coming to you today with a romantic fairy godmama hot topic. Yes, I know this is 2 in a row. Now, why? Well, first off, our hot topic is Adored Woman Habits Part 2. And the reason I'm doing a Part 2 is because after contemplating Part 1, I realized there were a lot of things that I didn't mention that I wanted to mention, and so I think it's important that we do a part dos. If you feel what I'm saying, and I know you do. Okay, so why this is so important, and I recognize last time we were talking about a few mindsets, and what I should have also added to that on the last couple of mindsets that I wanted you to have as an adored woman is that your habits and the way you show up in the world should reflect those mindsets. But I want to talk more today about some more tangible things that are preferred adored woman habits, because these things can really, believe it or not, fuck with your love life. So the first one is I want you to get your hot ass off of social media and stop watching the news constantly. Now, why? Well, there are so many reasons. There's a long ass list of reasons, but I want to talk about social media first. First off, it's incredibly divisive, and it's an insane time suck. And you're an adored woman, which means you are a successful, ambitious woman who also wants to have incredible relationships with men, and specifically, possibly an incredible specific relationship. So that means you don't have our time. Time is a very valuable commodity, and you don't have time to waste on something as absurd as social media. Now, the exception to this is if you are building a brand on social media for the work you do. And I totally get that, but even that needs to be done in a constructive way, where you're not spending your entire fucking day on something that is pointless and damaging to you. So let's talk about that for a second. So I told you again, it's incredibly divisive. It's very divisive. It's also going to make you overly fearful of the world. And yes, there are things in the world that we should be aware of, but to live in a constant state of fear is awful on not only your psyche, it's really bad on your body. It's really horrible for your love life. And it's going to make your journey as an adored woman much harder unless you decide to stop focusing on the fear mongering that's going on between social media and the news and actually, assess your world, your specific experience of the world, and base your decisions on that. It's also really good for insecurities. Well, not good for curing insecurities. It's really good for perpetuating insecurities, especially with women. If you go through the typical feed, you're going to see tons and tons of advertisements that are designed to make you feel like there's something physically, emotionally, spiritually wrong with you. And marketing is going to play on those insecurities over and over again instead of showing you what an amazing woman you already are. So are there other things on social media that actually do good things? Of course, there's good social media. But essentially, it's still a time suck, and it's not perpetuating anything wonderful. And if you know me, you know I've talked about how much I dislike spending time on social media, which is why I don't spend a lot of time building my social media, because I can't get around the supposed quote unquote advantageous part of it. And I see, especially within the context of relationship, that it does more harm than good. So you also know, if you've listened to me for any length of time, when you meet a guy, I don't suggest you connect on social media. I think you should do it the old-fashioned way via texting. Isn't it funny to call texting old-fashioned? Or through regular phone calls instead of connecting on social media accounts. And I have a list of, reasons for that we can discuss at another time. But overall, if you reduce your amount of social media and news access, you're going to take a lot of anxiety out of your life, because you're going to start to see that, especially from your end of the world, that life is actually can be pretty awesome. And you don't have to hyper-focus on all the horrible things going on. You can contribute, of course, and help horrible things going on. But when you're not living in that idea and in that world constantly, you can start to breathe. I do personally think social media and news and things like that is a really big contributor to the overly anxious woman. And I'm sure you realize this, a lot of women are dealing with high anxiety these days. And this has a lot to do with it, because we are perpetuating this idea that this world is something to be, not to be enjoyed, but to be only feared. And if that's the place that you're living from in life, first off, it's going to be hell trying to be an adored woman. But second, you're missing the beauty of life. And there is no reason to go through an entire life. Yes, there are crappy things that happen. There's no reason to not enjoy life at the same time and take as much out of life as you absolutely can. That is your decision that you get to make about life. It's the decision I'm taking. I'm going to suck the shit out of this all the way to the end, and I'm going to enjoy every bit of it. And of course, I'm going to add the other components to it in the right doses, but I'm hyper focusing on having an amazing life and an amazing experience. And I believe you deserve that as well. Now, number 2, adored women are not attached to their phone. So even aside from social media and the news and stuff, I know what you hot asses are doing out there. You're watching the phone constantly for his message, his ding, that sounded incredibly sexual, his ding. Well, no, okay, let's keep going. But you're watching, constantly watching your phone in order to get that dopamine kickback from some kind of notification on your phone, whether it be email, whether it be messaging, whether it be social media. And this is also making you overly anxious, because you're always anticipating it, wondering, wanting it, craving it. And it's a really poor habit to have. So I want you to start doing what I do. You don't need to get up first thing in the morning and check out all the things on your phone, okay? Go in and have yourself a cup of coffee first. Treat yourself really elegantly in the morning, and don't infiltrate that beautiful mind of yours with a whole bunch of shit that you don't need yet. Instead, take a moment to, collect what thoughts you want to have and set the intention you want to have for the day. The other thing, ladies, please, for the love of all that's adored, turn your phone off at night. Turn it all the way off. Okay, now if you use it for alarm, make sure you put it on airplane mode. It's really, really a simple concept. You're not getting proper rest if there is an anticipation in your brain that something can ding or even buzz in the middle of the night. So don't tell me, oh, I put it on vibrate. No, and I'm a heavy sleeper. No, that's not cutting it either. Your brain needs a break at night. You need to be able to rest. Now, the caveat on this is, I know for those of my single adored mamas, if your child is away from you, I'm okay with you leaving your phone on during the night. But that's only when they're away. Otherwise, I can't think of any. I'm sure you will, but I really can't think of any very good reasons to have your phone on all night. Let me also tell you exactly what happens when you do this. Instead of waiting for him to text you and he's late with his text, if you decide on a time every night, let's say 9:30, that your phone, and I actually recommend I go a lot earlier, your phone goes on airplane mode, then
holy crap, your life stops revolving around whether or not he's texting you or whether or not you're going to get a message from him. And if he tries to booty call you in the middle of the night, you're not going to be tempted. You're basically setting up a win-win situation, win for you and win for him, because, to be honest, when you're placating a guy's badass habits of booty calling you and texting you late at night, and he's all of a sudden getting, you're up all night chatting, well, you're setting up bad habits for the both of you. And not only that, you're driving yourself crazy, because this shit doesn't drive men crazy like it drives women crazy. And then all of a sudden you're tired at work, you're not as productive, you're not getting stuff done. Women complain all the time about not getting proper sleep. Well, a lot of proper sleep comes from the fact that you're not setting up in an environment that proper sleep can happen. And if you have shit going off and dinging and notifying you all night, there's no way you're getting proper sleep. So cut it out. 100% cut it out. Put it on airplane mode. Make that habit. Start that right now. And stop waiting for his text. If he told you he was going to text you at 9:15 and your cutoff time is 9:30, that shit goes off. There's no leaving your phone on just in case kind of thing. He can get the response from you mañana. Why? Because you're an adored woman and you prioritize your health, your sanity, your sleep time. You make things sacred for yourself. That's really important. You have to start making things sacred for you. Nobody else is going to make things sacred for you. Okay? We expect all of a sudden people are going to rush in and make everything better, but it really starts with us. Adored woman transformation starts with the things that you are willing to do for yourself and the way you are willing to treat yourself. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the phone. Dating apps. I love online dating. You know this. If you want help with your online dating profile, go to helpmeonlinedate.com for 2 free chapters of my program. Why do I love online dating? Because it's the best place, and I prefer it over social media any day. Not that stuff doesn't happen on social media, but better stuff usually happens on dating apps when you know what you're doing. On the same page. Do not spend all day on fucking dating apps. You don't need to have these ongoing conversations with a man. When you have these ongoing conversations and there's no stop and finish to them, at some point, you guys stop having anything to talk about. And then a lot of times women are like, well, he never asked me out. Well, it's because he's constantly in contact with you. There's no need to ask you out. He has access to you all the time. Set up a time during the day when you will check your dating apps, okay? If you have notifications on your dating apps, turn that shit off. You don't need to be notified every time you get a wink or a message or something like that. Get yourself disciplined and in the habit of setting a time every day where you look at your dating apps. If you need, and this is always this what happens, if you need help, of course, come to me. All right. This is stuff I teach within the context of my programs on how to manage male attention, how to, tell a guy when you're going to talk to him next, and to not do this crappy ongoing behavior of just always texting him. Again, when you're attached to the phone all the time, you're basically attaching yourself to anxiety all the time. You need to be willing to put your phone down and to do other things. A phone is a tool. It's not a way of life. Again, a phone is a tool. It is not an adored way of life. Now, this also means you have to be able to recognize when you are extremely phone addicted. If you cannot go out with your girlfriends and put your phone down for an hour, I see women do this all the time. They're sitting there talking to each other and they're texting the entire time because they can't look up from the screen. If you cannot make eye contact with somebody as simple as your girlfriend, you need to do some kind of cleanse. It's really important that you understand that technology, as amazing as it is, it can also, in certain doses, be very harmful and a big factor in anxiety. If you also notice, and I like to do this too, is I have a cutoff time. I get off my computer, I'm off my phone, I am connecting with my family, I am going outside and breathing fresh air, and I'm not fucking looking at my screen. Why? Because my brain and my body need to unwind from that digital connection. No mistake, as cool as that digital connection is, it's anxiety producing. And we, as adored women, need the opportunity to unwind, to breathe. And I thank God every day that I got to grow up at least partially during a time where the digital connection wasn't in full force. Okay? And for those of you who have never had that, you need to create that in your life. You need to know what that space feels like. And just fair warning, you're going to go the first couple times you do it, you're going to have more anxiety than normal because you're just not used to it. But once you get through that initial part, you'll start realizing that there is so much more to life. And when you're not living in a high level of anxiety, all of a sudden you can really start to implement the way that I would have you implement the things of man-tourage dating. That's really, really important because you can feel calm. You can start to connect to your higher power, and you can know that good things are truly going to happen for you. Okay? Number 3. This is a fun one. Ladies, stop giving men your itinerary because you are afraid he will lose interest in you. All right? Let me dive a little deeper for you. A man doesn't get your schedule access until he's in a relationship with you or a lot closer to a relationship. This is a very important adored woman habit, and I see this is very it's pivotal in order to move into the adored woman world. We think that we owe men an explanation of everything, or he's not going to like us. We're afraid if he's going to get scared because you're dating somebody else, and that might push him away, or all these things. So we automatically tell him if we're busy, we tell him exactly what we're doing when we're busy to make sure he knows that we're not with another man. You're not doing yourself any favors. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Now, this isn't about trying to make men think that you're with another man. That's kind of skeezy. It's not. That doesn't do what you want it to do either. But always offering and not letting him wonder is not doing you any favors. So quit doing it. Quit being scared of him thinking you might be talking or seeing someone else. All right? It's not helping you in any shape or form, and it's not an adored woman habit, so just give it up. Number 4, this is big. And smart women try to say they don't do this shit all the time, but the truth is they do. Adored women do not, under any circumstance, jump into a relationship just because he wants to. I want you to think about that for a second. Jumping into a relationship, saying yes to a relationship because you're excited that he likes you without assessing whether or not you really want to be in the relationship happens all the time. And ladies, it's a recipe for romantic disaster at some point. The point of man-tourage dating is for you to explore your options. One of the big points, there's a lot more to it, but one of the big points is for you to finally explore. Give yourself permission and explore, truly explore, not half-ass explore, but explore your romantic options so that when you decide to go into a relationship, it's a relationship that you're genuinely excited about, not temporarily excited about, genuinely down to your core excited about because you are more ready than you've ever been. And you are more committed to the actual relationship itself, and that you are ready to have fun with it. Man-tourage dating is also what a lot of women don't realize. It's also great relationship training because you'll learn how to navigate different nuances that you just don't get when you're just dating one guy and that's it. And those experiences can be taken into your relationship and to easily make it the best relationship you've ever had and will ever have. Okay? Take it in. Adored women don't jump into a relationship just because he wants to. It's great that he is excited to be with you. And it is wonderful, and allow yourself to enjoy that. But that's not, oh yes, I'm going to be in a relationship with you just because of that. And you still get a say. I think sometimes because we want to be relieved of the burden of having to make any choices at all, we're just like, oh, I just want to be chosen. That's not the place you want to be just chosen, okay? You need to, as a smart, successful woman, your input needs to be in there too, meaning you need to make the decision, not have somebody make the decision for you. And if you're suffering from decision fatigue, which I totally recognize a lot of smart, ambitious women are doing, you have to simplify your life. That means you're overcomplicating your life in certain ways. And it's time to start the simplification of your life. And again, that's something I've been working on for years and I love. How do you make your life as easy as possible? Okay. And now, of course, there are going to be pieces that are never quite easy, but the way you set up your life, the systems you set up in your life, and the very specific choices that you make that contribute to your happiness, don't pack your schedule. All right. Start to bring a lot of stuff out. And if you have a position where you're having to make all the decisions, train your staff to make good decisions as well. Quit thinking that everything just, it comes on you. It's only you. Because if you are doing that, that means you're micromanaging. And we've talked about that in another episode. And that's not going to get you where you want eventually. It's too much. It's too high maintenance. It's way too high maintenance for your life. So first off, acknowledge it's okay to simplify your life and still keep the pieces in that really excite you. But then start to eliminate the pieces that you don't really need. Make your caretaking. One of my big things, and this might be very helpful, is I used to think that I needed to go somewhere to do my workouts and all that kind of stuff. Well, I realized the way that I want to live my life so that I can engage more outside of my work is that I do all of my workouts and self-care from home, or most of it, what I'm able to do. And I'm very deliberate about the times and the other pieces and regimented about it and very disciplined with it. And then that way, in my free time or in my time that I am interactive socially, that's where I dedicate most of my time to going places. So if you can arrange that, that might be helpful. Certain pieces that there's not travel, eliminate the travel involved. Or if there has to be travel, use that for, say, listening. We were talking about educating yourself, things like that, for listening to podcasts, stuff that you don't have to physically look at so that you can move through that time period easily. And just layer it that way. Don't multitask. Okay. The only multitasking I think is permissible again is if I'm doing some kind of piece of housework, something I need to tend to, I'll multitask by listening to something. I won't be watching something because that's too much distraction. And also acknowledging, and we try to say as women that we're really good at multitasking. The truth is everybody sucks at multitasking. There is something that you are losing when you are multitasking. There's a big chunk that you're losing. So the one exception, again, I really truly believe is if you are processing audio or music while you're doing something physical that doesn't require a lot of brain power. That would be the exception. And just arranging your life little by little. Some of it you can do right away. And then otherwise, if you're in a place where you can't do that, you're going to do it just little by little. Just take baby steps towards it and simplifying, making it easier. If you have children, getting their wonderful beings to help you with things. If you have young children, teach them from when they're little how to do things. Do not mommy the hell out of them so that they are incapable of doing shit on their own. I do think we do children a big disservice by doing that. And I think it's more prevalent today than everything, especially if you have male children. I think that we teach young girls more so than we do young boys to help. But I want to encourage all children to be taught to be more self-sufficient around, things that they can do. Call me crazy, but my daughter started washing her own clothes when she was 6 years old. Why? Because I wanted her to always have that skill and to learn that she can be self-sufficient when she needs to be. If I had a son, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. So make sure, especially my mamas, there's a lot of things that you're doing for your kids that are contributing to just being overscheduled and having too many tasks on hand. So take some of those tasks away. If you're not a parent, I'm going to bet most ambitious women still have a level of this as well. So really start to, with a very critical but loving eye, go through your schedule and think of what lights you up and what doesn't. And anything that doesn't light you up, you then have to determine, is this absolutely critical? Is there a way around this? Is this something that I could hand out if I wanted to or have somebody else do? Is this a strength of mine? Is this something I would like to improve upon? All right, now let's go to number 5. This is an important one, and I'm going to give a disclosure before I say this. Yes, I 100% believe in a universal higher power. Okay. To me, I call my higher power God, heavenly mother and father. I like the collective idea of male and feminine energy, creator, universe, my Lord and Lordess. I love that one. I have lots of different names that I use that really resonate with me. If you do not believe in the higher power, most of the time I've found my ladies that tell me that they don't believe in a higher power, they usually do believe in something bigger. So you can just put a name to it. The collective energy, nature, whatever it is, put something on there. All right? Because let's say ultimately we're wrong. Who cares? Because the idea of it is going to help you significantly in your life. All right? And I've seen enough evidence to believe to the contrary, but ultimately, again, you get to make the decision. So here's the habit. Adored women continually forge unbreakable connections with her higher power, calling your higher power with whatever resonates with you. Why? This is what women do. You can see this narrative in any television show, in any movie, and just about everywhere you go. The narrative for women. Women are warriors. I have, my stepmother, she goes, I'm just a warrior, like a worrier, not a warrior. And I'm sitting there looking at her, and of course, I'm trying to let her be who she is, but I'm sitting there thinking, that's not something I want to be known for. That's not a badge of honor. Just like I'm so busy. It's not a badge of honor. I worry all the time. It's not a badge of honor. It's not the worst thing in the world, of course, but it's not significantly helping you as an adored woman. And it is contributing to those high levels of anxiety. A good percentage of this worry you don't need, okay? Yes, bad things happen in the world. I totally acknowledge that. But you being constantly worried that bad things are going to happen aren't making your chances of these things happen go down. And in fact, in some cases, it might actually be increasing it. So I'm going to challenge your hot ass to stop worrying so much. And the best way to do that is by forging your connection with your higher power. This is another thing that I have been working on over the last couple of years intensely, and it has taken a huge weight off of my shoulders. Does it mean I'm not cautious about certain things? Of course not. But I'm not overly cautious anymore. I want to live. I don't want to live in this whole fear culture that we're perpetuating. I want to have access to life, to breath, to moments, to memories, to freedom, not this heavy ass burden of perpetual fear and worry that is life-sucking and draining and not doing a damn thing for your complexion, my love. Chew on that for a bit. Is everything you're worrying about really worth worrying about? Or would your time and your habit be better spent forging a connection and a belief in something way better than yourself? And understanding a few things. Okay, so it's okay. It's perfectly okay to believe that everything is going to work out. Because one day or another, life is going to keep on going and everything is going to work out. Okay, and what do I mean by that? So when you work with me, that's one of the trainings that we go through, is that just because something, let's put in the context of men for a second, just because it looks like it's not a great situation doesn't mean it can't switch at any second. And in fact, a lot of things that look bad actually end up being amazing setups for really incredible things happening in your life. But we get so focused on the worry that we don't give the good pieces permission because we've deemed it as bad. It's so bad. It's the worst thing in the world. And there are some indeed things in the world that are absolutely fucking awful. But we kind of use that label on everything as women, and it's not getting us where we want to go. We're not stepping into more happiness, more love, more affection, more dreams, more things like. In fact, a lot of times we're just stepping into a lot of worry and anger. So I want you to really chew on that. Is it worth it? Is it worth all the anxiety that you feel? Is it worth being upset all the time? I also am going to tell you all of that, especially worrying all the time. It's going to affect your health. It's going to make you more lethargic. It's going to kill your sex drive. It's going to do a lot of shit. It's going to fuck with your head a lot. So you might as well start to let go of pieces of it. Yes, you can still be proactive and protective on certain things, but there's a line. There's a certain, if you're walking around and you've got your life in bubble wrap, there's no way that you can really, truly enjoy life. So think about that. Also, when thinking about things that are coming up in your life, especially things that are happening with men, most of the time, even though A lot of you will not choose to recognize it. Most of the time, it's a setup for something really, really good, which is why I talk about mantourage dating and having options and pivoting your attention when you need to so that you don't have to hyper-focus on the bad, because a lot of times good things are happening and you don't recognize it because it comes in the package of not so good. But do really sink your teeth into this, okay? Sink your teeth into this thought and you can write this down. Challenges will make me stronger, and I will find or create opportunities in my adversity. I will find or create opportunities in my adversity. And that's what adored women do, is we are on a path to not only enjoy life, but to take seemingly crappy incidents and turn them into our favor and make them work for us. What happens when you choose to do this instead of just being pissed off all the time? You've opened up an entire world to yourself. You've opened up an entire world of love, of connection, of amazing relationships. You've opened up the possibility of getting to the end of your life and knowing that you've lived full out. And not just the YOLO hashtag, okay? Like actually lived full out, taken in the moments, not going from activity, task to task to task to task, but you have done something, created something, and taken it in, experienced something, connected with something much bigger than you've ever imagined. And you can get there faster making this transition and really appreciating and processing if you're willing to forge an unbreakable connection with your higher power and understand that your higher power is collaborating behind the scenes for your good, okay? And yes, there is something bigger than just you going on, so lean into it, enjoy it, and suck the crap out of this life, adored woman style.
Okay, lover girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show. To become an adored woman, you have to show up daily as an adored woman, which is largely determined by the habits you repetitively choose.
Thank you, lover girl, for joining us on this romantic fairy godmama edition of Single Smart Female. Don't forget to text this episode to all of your single smart girlfriends, as well as visit us at singlesmartfemale.com.
We'll talk to you next time.
And here's to you having everything you want in life and love. This episode was brought to you by the Secret Society of Adored Women.
Have you been tirelessly going on craptastic dates, having craptastic results with men, even spending a craptastic amount of time weeding through meh guys and fretting over the one who won't call you back or commit?
Join us for our Hush Hush group of like-minded, successful, badass single women from around the world, turning the dating scene on its head and creating scandalously magical romantic experiences that you will cherish forevermore.
But beware, your love life and life will never be the same again.
Meet us over at thesecretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com.